like migrating all the 3,000 apps in Google to Ivy, and it took them like a year to do it, of effort of all the team to support all of Google.
Right.
Now, let me take a minute here and explain to our listeners, because a lot of y'all might not be in the Angular community. Ivy is just it's a brand new renderer. So it's basically required the Angular team, a team at Google that makes this open source framework that we're all using for our professional day jobs in JavaScript and TypeScript. They redid the whole thing. And that's why it took so long. That's why it had such repercussions. That's why we were waiting for these big announcements, but they wouldn't come for a while, because that takes a lot of effort and work. Not only did they have to change the framework, they had to change it over time, and then they had to change all of the apps at Google that use it, and they had to not scare away the community while they did it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's definitely a different feeling here. So any of you who work on Java or C#, C++, whatever, I think you can probably imagine the library creators, the language maintainers and folks who do so much work to make your jobs better and add features to your languages and frameworks. And you can get a glimpse into a little bit of that. So thank you for playing the roundup with us and sharing some memories of yours. We're going to get into the main interview. And I think Brooke has a great introduction prepared for you.
Definitely, yeah.
NativeScript is the best framework to address all your mobile dev needs. If you got a computer and basic web skills, you can make a native mobile app with ease. If you got an idea, you can make it come true. There are plugins galore, a big community too. If you love JavaScript, Angular and Vue, NativeScript has got a flavor for you. Visit nativescript.org today.
We always like to introduce our guests and just kind of play that game with you, before we really get into the episode. But I think it would be not like, I'm not okay not letting people know more about your background, where you come from, kind of your experience. So just to introduce you more to our listeners, Shai, everybody, is an Israeli-based GDE in Angular. You are the JavaScript Israel group organizer, an HTML4 webmaster. I love these titles, right? Like, who comes up with these titles? These are awesome. And then, I think what you might be most well known for is that you're the founder and the CEO of a company called Hi-Rez.io, and that's where you make some very seriously entertaining, I call it, and I think you call it, edutainment. Basically, you're entertaining people in these tutorials and videos, but you're teaching them at the same time. And it's on a variety of subjects, but mostly Angular. And then, like what Erik was saying, you're kind of known now for being the king of testing. So test-driven development. Yeah, so that's an introduction to Shai. But you just today, or no, this was yesterday, you gave another highly entertaining talk, very effective. You were kind of using like models and having them move around on the stage as you were teaching people about TDD. Not only that, though, but then you were also telling us you've been the MC. I think this was the first time you've been the MC for the conference. So not only are you preparing a talk, giving a talk on stage in front of hundreds of people, then you've got to go on and somehow keep them entertained in between the talks and like transition between the talks. That's a lot of pressure, right? So kind of talk to us about that. Like, what are you going through? What are you experiencing? What are some of your emotions as you're getting ready to give those kinds of presentations and be in front of all of these people?
First of all, thank you. So this year was very special in terms of okay, this wasn't just a talk I needed to do. It's also, like you said, like I need to MC. MCing is something that, because I run JavaScript Israel group and I've been doing it for like the past 10 years or something like that, 9-10 years. So I had experience of hosting meetups and also conferences in Israel that we did back in the day. but I used to do it alone. I never did it with like another like partners and such. Having said that, I had great partners like Alyssa
Right.
and Frosty. Frosty, of course, he's like the ultimate MC for
Right.
ng-conf. And like I said before, seeing him and Geddes hosting ng-conf all like the first 4 years, I think it was, taught me a lot about like how to do it from like watching from afar.
Yeah.
Um,
Learning from the masters.
yeah,
Gotcha.
and so this time, so usually in past years, I used to. So I have a problem. Okay,
Okay.
I'm a perfectionist,
Right.
A
and
lot of people have that problem.
yeah, and have an imposter syndrome and all that.
Oh.
But this problem is like drives you to indecisiveness, where I have this idea for a talk. Usually, it comes down to a title. I'm not really sure how I'm going to create
Mhm.
the idea. The idea just sounds cool to me,
Okay.
but I have no idea. I have no picture when I'm thinking about it of the complete thing, because the complete thing requires a lot of decision making
Yeah.
and a lot of preparation. And oftentimes I always ask myself how I got myself into this situation again, where I'm committed to a talk that I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to produce it, or even if it will, be successful, or like, I'll be able to fulfill the promise. So my system or method of doing that and overcoming the perfectionism is to procrastinate until the last moment, where I don't have any choice but to make decisions because I'm on the clock.
Yeah.
Right.
And then somehow it gets created and somehow I deliver it, and I have no idea how in such a short time I was able to produce something that in my mind like supposed to take weeks of work.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I'm used to not sleeping, because usually I don't sleep. I work all night and all day just to prepare everything because I don't have time. So I have lots of stories for all the past years of each time I submitted a talk. Fun stories. We can like record a couple of podcasts, each episode on a different behind the scenes story about how I coded a game show app, and it was like I was late to being like on stage because I was still coding the app in my room. And like it took like I was late like by 15 minutes. They were about to cancel the talk. It was in London, and I came here last minute, running in the rain with the laptop. And I never had a chance to test even manually in the browser that the app works from like question 1 to question 20.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So everything was like
Unrehearsed.
testing in production
Wow.
in front of the audience. So this is just one example. So I'm telling all this to say that usually I have only the pressure of preparing the talk and procrastinating until the last moment,
Right.
and making it happen somehow. I like.
It sounds like you do your best work under pressure. is what
I
I'm
know.
hearing.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Have you ever not done that and
This year.
prepared?
This year?
Okay.
So this year, because I knew I need to MC,
Mm.
Yeah.
and I had no idea what does it actually mean.
Yeah.
We
What
have
would
to
that
always
entail?
stay inside of the the hall or like the conference
How
hall.
tired would you be? How,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I did is I prepared the talk ahead of time, first time it ever happened, and I made sure like to do it in local meetups in Israel, and that way I would have to. So when I talk with Frosty about this talk, I told him that I have this idea of like a stage play, and like I did a similar thing in 2017 with like guard and all that stuff.
Nice.
Back then, when I okay, so I will come back to that. I just want to close the point of like what I told Frosty. So I told that I want to do like this talk where I'm using actors to run the tests instead of running them in VS Code. And because it's unpredictable, you don't know if people will make mistakes or not. You cannot really time it the way you time, something with just slides.
Yeah.
So he told me like, hey, because every speaker has 20 minutes for their talk in ng-conf, unless you're the core team or something like that. So he told me like, okay, do it 25, don't go past 30.
Okay.
Usually he tells me that. Okay.
All right.
After I went way over in 2017 on my other similar talk.
How far? 40 minutes.
No, not 40 minutes. But so in 2017, I submitted 2 ideas to ng-conf. Usually, people get selected for 1 idea that they submitted.
Yeah.
Frosty in 2017 came back to me and told me in the whole history of ng-conf, we never picked 2 talks of the same person.
Yeah.
And your 2 talks got picked by the committee. So it was ng-rap, a rap song about Angular, and this talk called Angular Authentication and Authorization Live Demo, which is the longest, which I submitted as a joke. I didn't think they would actually pick it.
They loved it.
So they loved like
The joke's on you.
Yeah, exactly. So again, perfectionism and procrastination, I invested all of my time in preparing a rap song with like a professional DJ or producer who created like the music.
Yeah.
And like researching like rap songs and figuring out that because it's not my native language.
You never created a rap before?
I created in Hebrew.
Oh, nice.
As
true.
a parody on Israeli rap back in like 2004 or something like that.
Can you spit some lyrics for us right now?
From that song?
Yeah.
כן. מי זה בא? הפתעה זה גרביליו, כשאני מתחיל לשיר כולם צורכים לא, שר לו משהו בכלל ותאמינו שזה קל לכתוב מילים וחרוזים מאולצים כמו סל, יש לי טלפון מנגו שעדיין עובד, כי אני בקיא בחומר, אני לא מתלמד.
Nice,
so,
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so that was a huge hit because I written it with my friend in 2004 as a parody on like what we saw on TV, Israel trying to imitate Americans with like bad lyrics. And then 2007 we created like a video clip for it, and it got viral even before YouTube. It was like our own Israeli YouTube back then. Got to 300,000 views.
Nice.
In like
wow.
a month. So I did the rap thing, and I didn't have time left to do the other talk, the real live demo. So I had some ideas about it, but I said, okay, I finished the last moment, the rap thing before I flew to Utah. So on the plane, I said, okay, I will find a narrative, and I brought a bunch of costumes with me, and I found a way to integrate the costumes into the narrative on how to do it, and I will write like the code for it, like to show code examples. Okay. So I landed. After I did the rap song, I needed to rehearse with Elisa and Frosty, who helped me like as backup singers. So I didn't have time left for actually preparing. I did on the way there prepared like the narrative or like the stage play, which I thought is good, and then I tested it with a couple of friends here in Utah in the hotel room, and they all looked at me like, nope. Doesn't make sense. Not gonna work. So I said, okay, shit. So I did the rap. I went back to my room, worked on it, tried to rework, left my room just to eat, came back to the room and worked the entire thing. And I was done. I worked all night. So I was done so my talk was in 8 a.m. or 8:50. I was done in 6 a.m.
Oh, wow. It's like just a couple hours to prepare, like just to get in the right
the entire talk was created like basically a day before I did it, and went with the production team on all the coordination.